When a woman cheats, this is the first thing she says to you. Female psychology, did you know that a study from Indiana University found that women are just as likely to cheat as men, but they're better at hiding it? In fact, research shows that women's affairs are often more emotionally driven, making their excuses harder to detect. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what phrases to watch out for when a woman is being unfaithful and what they truly mean. Welcome to Bond Chronicle, your go-to channel for real, relatable advice on navigating the complexities of love and relationships. Stay with me till the end, because we have a shocking bonus point that reveals the most mind-blowing excuse women use when they cheat. So-and-so understands me so well if your woman keeps bringing up another man, talking about how he just gets her in a way that seems almost excessive. Pay attention. This isn't just small talk. Emotional infidelity often starts with admiration. It's subtle at first. Maybe she laughs a little too much at his jokes, or she seems eager to tell you stories about how thoughtful, funny, or intelligent he is. And here's the real danger: when she starts comparing him to you, maybe she phrases it innocently, like "I wish you'd listen the way he does," or "he always knows the right thing to say." Research from the American Association for Marriage and Family Therapy shows that 70% of emotional affairs begin in the workplace, and this makes sense. Proximity breeds connection. She's spending hours with this person, sharing thoughts, frustrations, and wins over time. The bond deepens. Here's what to watch for: if she constantly talks about him but downplays her interactions. When you ask, that's a contradiction. She shouldn't be both openly praising him and avoiding details about him at the same time. That's a red flag. What can you do? The key is not to panic, but to observe if she's emotionally invested in someone else. It's going to show whether in her conversations, her phone habits, or how she reacts when you ask simple questions about him. "Don't worry, I'm just going out with friends." This phrase on its own isn't alarming. People have social lives outside their relationships, but if it becomes a go-to excuse without any details, that's when you should take a closer look. Cheaters rely on trust. They count on you not questioning them. The more they say, "I'm just going out with friends," and the less you ask, the easier it is to keep secrets. So how do you separate normal behavior from something sus? Issues. Look for patterns. Does she suddenly start dressing differently when she goes out, staying out later than usual, getting defensive when you casually ask who she was with? And here's a major shift to watch for: she used to text you updates when she was out, but now silence, no messages, no photos, just a vague, "It was fun." That's not nothing. If she's genuinely just out with friends, there's no reason to be cryptic. If she avoids giving specific names or details like where they went, who was there, or what they did, chances are she doesn't want you connecting the dots. What can you do? Don't interrogate her, but do pay attention to inconsistencies. If something feels off, it probably is a woman who has nothing to hide, won't act like she does. "I need more space for myself." Now this one can be tricky, because in a healthy relationship, personal space is important. Everyone needs time to recharge and focus on themselves. But when this phrase comes out of nowhere and is used as a way to create distance, that's when it gets suspicious. A study from the Journal of Sex and Marital Therapy found that 80% of women in long-term affairs started cheating because they felt emotionally neglected. That means, for a lot of women, cheating isn't always about physical attraction. It's about feeling seen and understood by someone else. So when she says, "I need space," ask yourself, what is she doing with that space? Is she reading, pursuing a new hobby, or is she suddenly unavailable, keeping her phone locked and going places she won't tell you about? Here's a common scenario. She used to tell you about her day, the little things, the random thoughts, but now she barely shares. She keeps her phone out of sight. She suddenly starts taking solo trips, weekends away, dinners alone, and the worst part, she doesn't invite you or even tell you until after she's back. That's not space, that's distance, and there's a difference. What can you do? Don't immediately assume the worst, but don't ignore the shift. A woman who wants real space for self. Growth will still be emotionally present. A woman who wants space to cheat. She'll become more and more of a mystery. I'm working late tonight. Every job has its busy seasons, deadlines, unexpected projects, last minute, client demands. But if your woman suddenly starts working late all the time, and it wasn't an issue before, that's worth paying attention to. A Rucker University study found that 57% of women who cheated met their affair partner at work. That's more than half, and it makes sense. Work creates the perfect excuse. No one questions overtime. No one asks why she's spending more time with a certain coworker. It's a cover story that doesn't need much explanation. The red flag she used to tell you all about her job, annoying meetings, office gossip, the co-worker who won't stop talking, but now she's vague. When you ask about her work, the details don't add up. Here's an example. Let's say she's in a job where overtime isn't the norm. Suddenly she's working every night, coming home late, acting exhausted but without much to show for it. No emails, no stress, no real reason for the extra hours. What can you do? Casually ask about her projects if she struggles to explain what's keeping her so busy. It's because work isn't what's occupying her time. I think we need some time apart. These words usually don't come out of nowhere. If a woman says this, she's been thinking about it for a while, and in many cases she's already emotionally checked out. Here's what often happens. She meets someone new. Maybe it's at work, maybe it's a social circle, maybe it's just someone she reconnected with online. She starts developing feelings. She doesn't want to cheat outright, at least not technically. So she asks for space. This is her way of testing the waters without fully letting go of you. She wants to see if this new connection has potential before making any big decisions. Here's a real sign. If she suggests a break right after meeting a new friend, there's a strong chance she's already emotionally involved. She just doesn't want to feel guilty about it yet. What can you do? Look at her behavior before she made this request. Did she stop initiating affection, become distant? Avoid intimacy so the break isn't a chance to clear her head. It's an exit strategy. You deserve someone better than me on the surface. This sounds like self-pity, like she's being hard on herself, but more often than not, it's an indirect confession. When people feel guilty, they look for ways to soften the blow before they actually do the damage. This phrase is often a pre-breakup script, a way to plant the idea that she's the problem, not you, that way. When the truth eventually comes out, she can say, "I warned you." Here's what to look for. If she suddenly says this out of where without any big fights or relationship struggles, it's possible she's already involved with someone else. She's just trying to emotionally prepare you for what's coming next. What can you do? Don't let this statement manipulate you into ignoring obvious red flags. Instead, ask yourself, why is she feeling guilty? What's changed? Because when a woman says you deserve better, what she often means is, "I've already moved on." If a woman says one of these phrases once, it might be harmless, but when multiple excuses start stacking up, that's when you need to pay attention. People don't just change overnight. There's always a reason. If her behavior shifts dramatically, if she becomes secretive or defensive, and if the small details don't add up, don't ignore it. The best thing you can do, communicate openly, pay attention to inconsistencies, ask direct but calm questions. And most importantly, trust your instincts when something feels off. It usually is. Now I want to hear from you. Comment, "I see the signs." If you watched until this point, it lets us know who's really paying attention. And because you're part of our real community, here's your exclusive bonus insight, a phrase that might be even more dangerous than all the rest. Bonus, you're just being insecure. When a woman is caught in a lie, she might not admit it. Instead, she'll flip the script. She'll gaslight you, make you feel like you're the one with the problem. Suddenly, your completely reasonable concerns get dismissed as jealousy or paranoia. She'll say things like, "Why are you always so suspicious? I can't even have friends anymore. You're just imagining things." The goal here is simple: to make you doubt yourself. If she can convince you that you're being irrational, she won't have to explain her behavior. Here's an example. Let's say you ask her why she's been texting a certain guy late at night. Instead of answering, she gets defensive. She calls you controlling. She makes you feel guilty for even asking, "What should you do?" Stand firm in your observations. If something doesn't feel right, trust yourself. A woman who has nothing to hide won't act like she does. If she consistently avoids answering simple questions, it's because she doesn't want you to know the truth. If you found value in this, hit that like button. It helps the channel grow and make sure more people see this information. Subscribe for daily insights into relationships, attraction and dating psychology. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share this video with them. And because we always have more for you, we've recommended another video on your screen. Click it now. See you back here tomorrow.